Hi and welcome to this video in which I'm going to be talking to you about LinkedIn conversation ad strategy. Now, as you may know, LinkedIn recently launched new conversation ads, which is a messaging type advert which you send through to your customers. It's basically a new way of having a conversation with your potential customer just through the LinkedIn app. Now, some of you might have already seen sponsored in-mail campaigns or had some experience with them. So that's basically when you have an in-mail message which says that it's sponsored and basically it lands in your inbox. Now, the additional new extension to that is the new LinkedIn conversation ads. I have created a video about new conversation ads and how you set this up in a separate video, which I will link below in the description, but I will also link at the end of this video as well, so you can go away and have a look in a bit more detail to get yourself familiar with it. But in this video, I wanted to talk to you about how you basically create a LinkedIn conversation ads strategy. So where do you start? What are the things to be mindful of? In this video, if you want to find out how to create the most effective LinkedIn conversation ad strategy, then stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Hello and welcome back to those of you who are my existing subscribers. Thank you so much. It's been great to have you on board. If you are new to this channel, thank you so much as well for watching this video. If you do find it useful, please do leave a like on the video or send me a message, a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. It's great for me to understand and see whether the content I'm creating for you is right. My name is Abby Punch and I'm a social media consultant, and I'm here to help you to learn how to get the most out of your social media marketing. So let's get started in today's video, which is all about how you create a LinkedIn advertising strategy for conversation ads. Let's start with a quick overview about how a conversation ad works. So a conversation ad will appear in your LinkedIn inbox. So if you have a look at your inbox, you'll get a message pop up. Some of you might have already received this now, but you'll see that you've got multiple kind of calls to actions, and it comes from an individual's account. So you will have a dedicated person who will represent your brand, but we'll talk about who you select to be that person later on in this video. So firstly, just understanding the conversation ads, it's an opportunity to open up a dialogue. So it's about starting conversations. So that means your message doesn't need to be very lengthy. You don't have to think about it in an email format. It should be very short and snappy and straight to the point. So conversation ads is just another way for you to engage with your customer. It offers personalization, so you can make sure that you're creating a message which will resonate with your target audience. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to be mindful of is to remind you that when it comes to any strategy that you create from a marketing perspective, remember not to treat social media in silo. If you are running some PR activity or if you're doing email marketing as well, try to make sure LinkedIn or any social media activity that you do all is connected to everything else that you're doing. So the first thing that you need to be keeping in mind is thinking about what your objectives are. So when you're going to be creating this LinkedIn conversation ad strategy, the first and foremost, you need to think about what is your objective. So are you trying to take people through to view your website? Are you a new brand that nobody's heard of and you just want customers to engage and explore and find out a little bit more about you? In which case, one of your calls to action will be to visit the website. Are you trying to get email captures? So perhaps you've got like a newsletter that you want people to sign up to. So if that's the case, then obviously make sure you put that in as a call to action. Or you might have those two and a third call to action, which might be, hey, let's have a chat. We have a demo, we've got a product to talk to you about, which will help you to achieve X, Y, and Z. We'd love to have a call with you, so let's book ourselves in for a call. So the first thing to think about is, what are you trying to do? You don't want to have too many objectives. You should have one thing that you're focusing on, but then, that customer might not be ready at this point to go and buy from you straight away. So then you give them a second or third option to engage with you. At least, if they aren't ready to register for your webinar, they can go in and have a look. So maybe explore a bit more about your website, find out a little bit more about who you are. So that's just a couple of things to think about. But yes, number one, just make sure you have one key objective that you want to be focusing on. Now, one of the things that you must remember is this, of course, is a conversation ad. So you need to make sure that the message that you're creating and the content that you're creating is going to be optional for people to actually engage in a conversation. But don't be afraid of running this, and don't feel like, oh, you're going to be spamming loads of people, because LinkedIn have got a algorithm in place, which means I believe only one sponsored ad is shown every 45 days. And now you know what your objective is. So say, for example, I have a webinar coming up and I want you to sign up for it. So my objective is to send a message out to my target audience, inviting people to sign up for this specific webinar. So number 2 is understanding your target audience. So you need to know exactly who you're going to be sending your message out to. So whether this is going to be managers, the C-suite, owners of businesses, whoever it might be, maybe it's HR managers or somebody who is the head of finance, whoever that person is, create a persona and have an idea, about what kind of magazines are they reading, all these kind of interests and stuff. I mean, in terms of marketing, you should be doing this anyway. So you should know who your target audience is and start building up this picture of the types of people that they are. And then once you've segmented your audience, you create these various different personas. So a persona would be like, I don't know, Bill, who is a HR manager who works for this particular company of about 200 staff. And you want to be reaching out to him. He reads HR Weekly. He's also joined on various different groups on LinkedIn, and he likes to go and watch football on the weekends. What you want to try to do is understand who that person is. Do not go for the approach of, oh, we're just going for everyone. So have a bit of an idea. Sometimes there will be situations where you don't want to tighten your audience so much. You want to let the algorithms on the paid platforms kind of find the customers, and then you use that data to inform how you kind of bring that audience and make it a bit smaller. So even if you just started off with like 3 or 4 different ways in which you can categorize these people. So it might be, that they're going to be of a certain age, that they'll be working for a company of this size, that their job title will be X. At least that's something to start off with. And the reason why this is so important is when we go on to the stage where you write your message, you'll be keeping this person in mind. Now, one other thing which I would like to mention here is thinking about your LinkedIn pixel. Now, I don't know how many of you already know this, but platforms such as Facebook have a pixel, which is basically like a snippet of code which is put in to your website, and then the website will basically know your customers who are coming from Facebook, who are engaging with your website, etc. It's a great way for you to start to understand who your audience is and start to build up a bit more of a picture. Now, LinkedIn have got their own pixel as well, so I just wanted to make you aware of that, and I would highly recommend that you make sure you put the pixel in place first before you start any of your ad activity, because it will help you to get a better understanding about who your audience is and is best practice. Right, so you know who your target audience is, you know what your objective is, you know what you're out there to do and what you're trying to achieve from this ad campaign. So the next thing for you to think about is probably to map this out before you get stuck in on the platform itself. So think about your user experience and have a think about exactly where you're going to be taking this customer. So say, for example, I'm sending a message to Bill and I'm inviting him to sign up for a webinar where they will find out all they need to about how to make the most out of a particular tool that I have available. Now obviously I know that will be the gist of the message, and I'm going to be talking about this particular webinar that I'm going to be doing. So think about whether you're going to be sending someone away from the platform or are you going to keep them on the platform. So this is going to be an activity where you're trying to get lead gen, i.e. you're trying to get an email address so that you can get them, send them the details and get them signed up for this webinar. So you might have 2 ways in which you can do this. Now, in terms of conversation ads, the 2 ways that you can set up your conversation ads is via website, for website traffic and also for lead gen. So have a think about how you would want to do it. There's no right or wrong way, and it all depends on what you have available to you. Now, you might want to direct people over to the website. So if that's the case, you would say, okay, well, they will be sent this link. This will be the landing page, and that's where the page will load. Has it got all the right information there? Will they understand the journey? So if you send them that particular message, will they then go over to that page and be able to connect the dots that, yes, you talked about a webinar, you've sent me through to a link which is talking about the webinar, and I can see exactly where I need to sign up for this particular webinar. If you do the LinkedIn lead gen option instead, that means that you will keep the customer on the platform, i.e. they won't have to head over to a website. Personally, I kind of prefer doing the LinkedIn lead page options and lead pages in general, because they keep the person on that particular platform instead of sending them somewhere else. Sometimes the issues that you can have when you're sending someone over to your website is the load time. So they could have clicked on the link, it might take too long to load slightly, or it doesn't load, or it throws up an error, or whatever it might be. And then that's that you've lost that customer and they might not come back and engage again. Whereas if you do it as a lead gen form, straight away you've caught their attention, you've sent this conversation ad, and they know, yep, that sounds great, I'd love to sign up. So then they can go in and click onto that form, sign up. Most of the time the app will pull in your LinkedIn details and put it straight into the form itself. And then that's it, you've got the person signed up. Now remember, you must have a privacy policy in place. So this is for all your social media activity, not just for LinkedIn. So make sure you've got a privacy policy in place on your website, which specifies that you are using a pixel for whatever social channels, cookie tracking and all the rest of it. You can also, within LinkedIn, make sure you've got organic content going out. So make sure you've posted about the fact that you've got this webinar going on, for example, and pin it to the top of your company page. Whoever's going to be the profile that sends this message out, make sure there's a mention of it on there and that your house is in good order. And also, that's from an organic perspective. You could also run another set of ads. So you could have a conversation ad going on where you're targeting people specifically, but you could also do a sponsored ad at the same time. So, these customers are then getting a bit more familiar with your brand. A lot of testing and learning, which you will do throughout your marketing career. So don't be afraid, and every business is different. There is no kind of standard way, but always use your own data to get an understanding about what's working for you. Thinking about the profile that you're going to be sending this message out from. So you might already know that you can send these messages from a specific person's profile. Now what LinkedIn lets you do is also send it from a company, but they have found they've got various different case studies on their website that actually if you send a message from a company, you're less likely to get that much interaction as it is from coming from an individual. So think about whose profile you're going to be sending this out from. So for example, if it is going to be a HR webinar about how to upskill yourself, or a product that you are offering, for example, make sure it's coming from, if it's a product that you're offering from, the person who's head of products or product manager or whatever it might be. And obviously if it's a HR related webinar, make sure it's coming from your HR manager, for example. Now, when it comes to that person's profile, do make sure it's completely up to scratch. I have got a video about this, which again, I'll link in the description below. And I've also got a step-by-step guide to make sure your LinkedIn profile is looking the best it possibly can do. So when it comes to writing your message, you can also add in tags, i.e. it will bring the person's name in, which gives you that element of personalization. But when it comes to your message, do make sure it's short and snappy. You don't want to make it too long. You just want to get straight to the point. You have a flow, so you're kind of giving your customer the control. So you're giving them the options to feedback to you to say what they're interested in. So they might not come back with anything, they might go ahead and sign up to your webinar, they might go and click on the website, whatever it might be. Whatever action they take, you can then serve them up with another message which says, thank you very much, we look forward to seeing you then. And it has got a bit of a flow, so a bit like a chatbot system, I suppose, where you've pre-automated, think about your MailChimp or email campaigns that you were doing where email templates are automated. So it's going to be in a similar format to that. When you are sending a message, you don't have a headline, so whatever you're putting as your first sentence of the message will be the headline of that conversation ad. Also, don't give a call to action or an option for someone to say no. So don't put a call to action which says not interested or no or whatever. If they're not interested, they probably won't engage. So let the ads run and see what kind of interactions you get. You can also add a banner to your message to help it stand out. So be mindful about the creative that you're using. And again, going back to your customer journey, make sure that the creative looks consistent. It's the same as what you've got on your website. Think about the branding that you're using. once you've implemented your ad campaign, let it run for a couple of days, but keep an eye on it to see what kind of interactions you're getting. Use the analytics that the platform gives you to give you some more insights and help to tweak your strategy. And that's basically it when it comes to your strategy. So think about your objectives. Who is your target audience? Think about the message, the person whose account the message is coming from, and give no negative responses, only 2 to 3 actions that you want people to engage with. So thank you very much, good luck, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video.